You have gear questions, what to buy, how to operate it. If you have questions about showing up more confidently on camera, if you're struggling to put yourself out there, that's something that goes around here as well. Live streaming specific things where it's like there's been a lot of changes in the live streaming space recently, especially on Facebook. If you have questions around that, bring it on. If you have questions about software choices and how to operate your software, Zoom calls, all of it, those are all things that you can bring to the table today. You are going to need to put a queue in front of your question to get it into my queue. So the way this rule works, I mean, bringing out the rules right off the bat, which is annoying, huh? So if you put a queue in front of your question, then my team is in the chat room and they're putting all of your questions into a queue for me in the order that they were received. However, the cool news is super chats do take priority. So if you want to jump to the top of the queue, if you want to say, you know what, Luria, I don't have time to wait and I just want my question answered now, then go ahead and super chat and you'll jump right to the top of the queue. Plus something fun might pop up on screen, which is always fun. What could I use instead of fun? Speaking of fun, Sammy is asking, how much fun did you have in New York? Those of you, check in. By the way, I see everybody in here. I see the bantering boneheads. I see Sammy. I see Einar. I see Roy Tech Troublemaker. I see Stewart Video. Oh my gosh. Be More Super. We've got your tech coach. We've got India in the house. Yurt. We've got Marco in the house. Solopreneur Alex. Welcome, welcome. Michael Short. Oh my gosh. Everybody is here. We've got the YouTube creator liaison, Renee. We've got Marcos. We've got, oh my gosh, everybody. Hi from Chile. Marcos is here from Chile. Nice. I love that. I don't know why my stream deck is not in front of me. We got Patrick in the house too. You guys are rocking it. I'm so glad to see you here. Okay, we've got questions already coming in, but let me catch you up real quick. I just got back from New York yesterday afternoon. It was a quick trip and yes, I got caught up in the CrowdStrike outage and the disaster that was travel. I wasn't flying on Friday. I flew on Saturday. However, my flight, just story time real quick, if you don't mind, and we'll get to questions here shortly. But keep checking in, keep telling me you're here. If you're new, please do type new so I can meet you and ask you some questions about yourself so that we can get to know each other. So I was flying on Saturday and I had a Delta flight booked and I was flying to New York for this B&H Creator Roundtable, the first of its kind, which I'm so honored to be a part of, the first ever Creator Roundtable for B&H, sponsored by Rode. And so on Friday, my Delta flight got delayed, like by 3 or 4 hours. I was like, that's not a good sign. Like, I'm given everything that's happening with Delta and the airlines in general and the whole outage. I was getting a little nervous because I was like, I don't want to miss this. Like, this is like something I really wanted to do. And so what I did instead was I kept my Delta flight because it had just been delayed, but it had been delayed the day before my flight, which is not normal, right? And so then I booked an Alaska flight because Alaska wasn't being affected by the outage. However, as much as they were saying they weren't affected by the outage, I will say their whole website was slammed hard. So I kept having major issues. I wound up accidentally booking 2 Alaska flights and had to cancel one of them because their system was so bogged down because everybody was trying to book Alaska flights. I wound up paying crazy amounts for a flight, 2 flights that I had to refund one. They were willing to refund it without questions. But I paid outrageous amounts for a flight to get out to New York. And just to be able to have a safety backup. Like, I wasn't sure, am I going to go Alaska or am I going to go to Delta? And even the morning of, like 2 hours before my Delta flight was supposed to take off, I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do? Wound up my Delta flight got delayed, and then canceled. My Alaska flight held strong, and it was later in the day. So I didn't get into New York until like 1 a.m., midnight, 1 a.m. into my hotel. I was exhausted, of course. And then Sunday, of course, the event at B&H was happening, and I had to be there by noon. So didn't get too much sleep, but got some coffee. I went to Ground Central Coffee, if you're ever in New York at Times Square. That was a great little spot. And yeah, so Alaska was awesome. On my flight home yesterday, I had the best flight attendant I've ever had, Dawn. She was an amazing flight attendant, and she was super, super sweet and everything. But yeah, so it is. Wait, what is that? I don't know what that is. Tell me. Yeah, that's right. And so Callie, this is Callie chiming in the chat room. My dad flies for Delta. He was stuck in a city for days instead of getting to go home. That sucks so bad. That coffee from Blue Bottle. Ooh, I didn't even look for a Blue Bottle, to be honest, but Blue Bottle, as far as I understand, doesn't even have that same coffee anymore. That was a seasonal thing. So sorry, you should have gotten it more while I was there. Friday was Happy CrowdStrike Day. Totally, it really was. Okay. Karis, I see your question. I've got an answer for you. I've seen your picture. We were talking about you this morning. I'm going to get to your questions because, oh my gosh, y'all have a ton of questions. So let's get down to it. I just appreciate that you let me share my little story. I got to see Sammy Superstar in person at the B&H store. I got to see Stuart Video, who's in the chat room as well, in person. I got to meet so many of you, and also meet some new friends. So we had people who have been years watching me and being in my community, and also some new people who I got to meet and connect with. So it was really nice to just be able to connect with community members in person again. I feel like it's been way too long since we did something like that. So next, look forward to more meetups and more things as I travel around the country or world. Who knows? All right, let's get to your questions. First question up. Region 7, how did you miss this stream? We are live Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific going forward. That is a fairly new schedule. I'm no longer on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific because I wanted some freedom for extra long weekends to be able to explore during the summer. Yes, so 10 a.m. Tuesdays, put that on your calendar and show up. Yeah, so here's what happened with the B&H live stream audio problems. I don't know specifically. I didn't have time to dig into it with the team there. But what I can say is the team knows what they're doing. What went wrong was we had Tom Buck was there with me on the panel, and then Podcastage, Bandrew was supposed to be there with us. He got a worse experience with the outage and got stuck. So he was not able to make it physically. So he had to come in virtually. I believe it's possible that the team who was running the stream didn't even know this was a thing until they were there setting up. I don't know that for sure, but that's kind of my perception of like how everything went down, because it was all happening over a weekend. And, like we come in on Sunday and we don't have Bandrew. We got to get him on remotely. They were, when I got there early, because I was shooting some video around B&H, when I got there early, they were like massively trying to get it all set up, because it was a different setup than we had planned, because it was all supposed to be us in person. We didn't have a remote guest coming in. And as you all know, when you add remote guests, especially when you have an in-person audience and a remote guest situation, we all need to be be hearing everything. He needs to be hearing us. The audience needs to be hearing him. We need to be hearing him. The stream needs to be hearing all of everything, the remote and in person. Like, that is a complicated setup. So don't, I'm just giving them massive props for getting it going that quickly. Like, it was a super quick turnaround for them to get all of that different level of tech setup done. And I don't think that they had time to test everything stream-wise and audio-wise because they were busy getting all of that set up. So mad props to the B&H team, also the Rode team who got us through the CrowdStrike issues and all of everything. So yeah, a hybrid really is more complicated than you want to think. It is hard. Hybrid it comes with many levels of complication. So they did it. It maybe ran off to a rough start. I haven't actually watched the stream yet, but I did hear like the audio issues on the stream were, kind of like iffy for a while, but they got that worked out and fixed. So mad props to them. If you ever think about doing something hybrid, you need time to set up and test. Okay, lots of questions coming in. I love to see you all here. Put Q in front of your question if you have those questions, and make sure that if you want to ask your question early, you can always, or get your question answered early, you can always super chat to take priority, which I thought I saw a super chat come in, but we didn't have a trigger going. I do have it active, so I'm not sure why. Einar, thank you so much for your super sticker. A slice of pink birthday cake. Whose birthday is it? Do we have a birthday in the house? Okay, let me get to questions. So many coming through. Be more super. What frames per second shutter speed is your camera at? So, my frames per second are at 60. So I do 60. Right now I've messed with settings, so I could walk back there and see what my shutter speed is at. I did see a question come from the pre-show. I'm guessing that's your same person that asked the question in the pre-show about frames per second versus shutter speed. So the question that I had seen come in early was, it was same person. Is it me or the pic of the camera is 60p, but the shutter speed is 160. I thought it should be set at double the frame rate. So I think Be Super, that's really your question, is like what the difference is. So typically, the shutter speed and the frame rate, you typically do that shutter speed, double the frame rate for motion, meaning sports, meaning high levels of action. Maybe you're doing skateboard content or, fast motion of some kind. For talking head videos, that's not as important. And so what I care more about, and if you don't understand these words, don't worry about it. But essentially, in my bold video program, I actually teach how to set your camera up without even understanding anything about shutter speed, frame rate, or anything else, because it doesn't necessarily matter for a studio environment. What I care more about is you getting the right lighting to feed the camera lens and the sensor inside of it, so that you get good, even lighting, and so that you have the best looking video, right? And so I literally just teach you like how to set all of that up without understanding that in full. However, to answer your question, that's really more on the action, the high motion action side of things when you want to do that. Tech Troublemaker, thank you so much. Oh, there it is. Thank you so much. I'm coming to your question next after I finish this. So if anybody has a different perspective to offer on that, feel free. But hopefully that answers your question. Be more super. And hello, Paul Burke coming in the house. The super chat question that gets to jump to the top of the queue is from Rory, Tech Troublemaker. What are some quick advice on maintaining watch time on recorded video? Thank you so much for your question. So watch time on recorded video. So when we think about watch time, we are thinking about the length of which people are paying attention and watching that full video. So if you have a 5-minute video and people are watching 2 minutes of that or 2.5 minutes of that, then you're getting a 50%, retention rate. And that actually 50% is not bad, but we want it to be more, we want it to be as much of that video as humanly possible, just to set the stage, right? And so the things that you can do to improve your watch time is things like make sure that you're keeping a pace that is keeping people interested in. The pace of the talking, the pace of the edit, the pace of the visual elements are going to help increase that retention rate. Also, the information itself matters. So if somebody came in and said, like, maybe I'm just gonna use a generic example. Maybe your video topic is how to tie a tie, right? Tie a tie, like how to tie, a man's tie or anyone's tie. If your video promise is how to tie a tie, and it's a 5-minute video, and you spend 2.5 minutes teaching how to tie a tie, and then the last 2.5 minutes are kind of information dragging on. Maybe it's a strategy around like different color choices or things like that. That isn't what people came to watch. And so naturally, if you teach them what they came to watch and then you keep dragging the content on, they're gonna stop watching. So pay attention to the information itself and the structure to keep them watching longer. Give them what they promised and no more. Give them what you promised them and no more than that, so that they don't lose interest because they came for what they came for. Does that make sense? Okay, I see, let's see, I'm just checking to see if there was any other recommendations on that. You are welcome, Be More Super. Glad that was super helpful for you. All right, let's see, I think, okay. I was just checking comments to make sure there wasn't anybody else who added anything on that. Callie is saying, sometimes I watch tutorials on things I'll never do just because the creator's so engaging and fun to watch. That's another thing that you can do to lengthen your watch time. Be engaging. Like, if you want engagement, if you want people to watch, you've got to be engaging, and that is in the way you deliver that content and a lot more. And I have a question. Okay, I'm answering your questions today, but I also have a question for you. Is that okay? This early on, is that okay for me to like flip the switch here? Hello, David Ryan, nice to see you. Well, okay, yeah, so I have a question for you, but I'm gonna use this as the way to ask this question. I seem to be able to get people in the door, but they trail off. Yes, everyone wants to know you're making bread, but they don't wanna know you're using artisanal flour. That's not necessarily true, but I see where you're going with that. So if people are trailing off, it's either content information, structure of it, or your delivery of that. And I will say, okay, I'm not putting a cue in front of your question, sorry. Here's my cue. I have a cue for you. Would it help you for me to help you understand delivery better? Like, if I could connect with you, offer you something to help you understand how to deliver your content better, more engaging presentation, would that be something that would interest you? Callie and I have been going back and forth talking about something like this, but I know that it's often really, really, really difficult to understand what you're lacking when it comes to delivery. I've spent 18 years improving delivery, perfecting delivery, understanding what is engaging to an audience. And I think that that is something that I could help you drastically change and improve. Would that be something that you would want me to offer to you guys and help you out with in a more direct format than just answering the question? Yes, teach me how not to be boring. I didn't say that. But I think that that is really honestly one of the biggest pieces of keeping people's attention is the actual delivery of that content, of that information, your personality, how you engage with people visually, audibly, through your voice, facial expressions, all of that. How to help my engagement would definitely help me. I feel like I have a good personality, but I'm not getting the crowd I want. I love that. I would love to help y'all out with, honestly, delivery is everything. Yes, for sure. Yes, Patrick says, okay, fantastic. Yeah, keeping the energy up is one thing that is really difficult, right? So, okay, honestly, I would love to hear your tips on staying focused. Are you two calling me not focused? Because I am all over the place when I go live. Tips on saving organizations questions. I don't know. I'm lost, Loria. Okay, all right. I hear you guys. I've been thinking of getting a personality. It's on my wish list. You shouldn't copy me. And that's the thing is, right? Like you shouldn't copy my presentation style. You should be your own unique, authentic version of your personality style. Some of you, like Rory, has more of a drier sense of humor, right? Or a delivery style. However, even with dry humor or something that feels like you don't have a lot of personality, you can, if you understand how to really pull that out and present that. Okay, Quill. Okay, put that as a cue. Get into my. Well, let's talk about that now. Let's just talk about that now. It is a lot about energy, you know. For one, it is about energy and amping up the level of your personality. That doesn't mean be. Sorry if any blew your ears out. It doesn't mean that. It means the extra level of your authentic personality. And so you have to discover what that really looks like for you specifically. But I would say that finding ways to, I'm sorry, I was just refreshing something over here. Finding ways to laugh, to get excited, to move through the content in a way that helps your audience take it in. That's your key. And so anyway, Karis, no, stay. I'm almost to your question. Okay, real quick, Karis, stay. Usually I don't like bump people up, but Karis, so Karis had a problem where the prompter was actually showing the teleprompter itself was showing kind of like a shadow on the video itself. And so you could kind of see this like shadow coming from the teleprompter. That can be two things: the angle of the camera and the prompter itself. So maybe your camera is pointing slightly downwards into the prompter, and then you're getting that feedback. It could be the angle of the prompter itself. Unfortunately, with the Elgato prompter, you don't have control over the angle of the glass like you do in really professional prompters. However, you can adjust that angle on the mount. You can adjust the camera angle to make sure that everything is kind of straighter on, and that will fix that problem. The other option is the bleed from the light. So depending on how you have your prompter set up, if you have bleed of light coming into the back of the prompter, then it can throw a lot off. And so if you have the drape there's a word for it, I'm blanking on it, but if you have the drape in the back of the prompter, that will remove the light coming into the back, affecting the front. So those are like a couple of things. I had a hard time mounting the phone, no camera. Oh, okay. Did you follow Karis? You are in my Bold Video program. I have in there a step-by-step on how to set up the phone on that prompter, on the Elgato prompter. You did use the drape, also shooting at night. Okay, fantastic. So make sure that so hopefully that's not the case, but do cinch it, kind of like gather it up so that there's no possibility of that light coming in. And then I think it's the angle of the lens, or the camera itself. So so that would be my go-to suggestion if you're using the drape and everything. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Tammy is the next question. Is the Elgato prompter in stock? Speaking of prompters. If not, do you recommend a replacement? I purchased the teleprompter booster pack as part of the Bold Video bundle and it wasn't in stock. So those of you who don't know, our Bold Video bundle actually teaches you, it's a paint by number style system that actually literally helps you set it up without complication, without having to make any decisions. You have like literally 3 decisions to make and I walk you through those decisions, but like I teach you you follow me, build it, and you get it built and you're done and you don't have to worry about like all of these tech issues and headaches. The teleprompter booster pack walks you through how to add a prompter on that, how to read from a prompter naturally, a lot of things. And so the Elgato prompter being in stock does happen from time to time where it's not in stock. You can check both Elgato's website and Amazon's website. If you email support@livestreamingpros.com, if you're a student, or like if you're not, but if you are a student, you have the teleprompter booster pack and you have the Bold Video bundle, like I would happily check on that for you, but like we should have a couple of different links that you can try, and then that will help you find it if it is in stock. If not, then typically it's not too long before it gets back in stock. As a side note, I am getting a newer teleprompter into my hands very soon. I don't know yet whether I'm going to be recommending it over the Elgato prompter. I don't think I will, just gut reaction, but I may, and once I get my hands on it, and as an option, it may be a good alternative to the Elgato prompter. So Paul is saying it seems to be stock all of the usual places right now. So if it's not in stock when you check, it may just be a day or two before it gets back in stock type of situation. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Amber Franklin, if we plan to use the Streamer X, can we use 2 cameras, one for face and the other facing down to demonstrate recipes? So the Streamer X, which is a great little device that we gave away to one of the in-person audience members at the B&H Creator Roundtable in New York, which was super exciting. That Streamer X is a combo capture card for a single camera, as well as a mixer, like for bringing in an XLR camera, an XLR mic. Cameras don't have XLR. An XLR mic, and also a couple of sound pads, which is super cool. So it's like a little mini device that combines audio, XLR audio, as well as a capture card. If you want to use 2 cameras and you're using the Streamer X, I would put your primary camera on the Streamer X and get a separate capture card for your computer, like the Camlink 4K. I have videos all about that on my channel. And then just bring that in separately to your computer, and then you'll just have those 2 devices. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have follow-up questions, let me know. Okay, let's see. Okay, lots of questions still coming in. Oh my gosh, you guys are bringing on the questions. I love it. Keep them coming. Put a Q in front of your question. YouTube creator liaison. What do you do when a major tech outage threatens your stream video plans? Funny. You do it as raw as you got to do it. Like literally, that's like you do what you got to do. And that this is, I'm going to take that sounding as a joke, but also kind of turn that into a real question here. There will be things that go wrong. I had answered a question on Facebook today from a group I'm in, and Zoom and Facebook weren't playing nice together, and she had a webinar. And I will say, like, you just got to do what you got to do. You always have a backup plan, always, especially on big events, webinars, big live streams, whatever. Always have a backup plan so that you know what you're going to do and you're not making decisions out of panic mode. Because if you let yourself get to something going wrong, whether it's a big tech outage or Zoom and Facebook not working together, then you will just want to give up. You're going to want to cry. You're going to get frustrated. But if you have a backup plan in place, then you'll be able to just easily switch, right? And so if your Zoom and Facebook aren't working together, then just go straight into Facebook, or use, the YouTube native platform if you have to, or there's easy backup plans. And if you ever have a question about, hey, I'm using this tech stack, meaning this software, this platform, what should my backup plan be? Then I will tell you. Bring those questions here on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Pacific so I can help you walk through those particular situations. But yeah, always have a backup plan. Patrick, I want to buy a new MacBook Pro. What are the current specs that I have to get to be current and future-proof for live streaming and video creation? So Patrick, the good news is with the M2s and M3s, even coming up on M4s, like you're good, you're mostly good, right? Get as much RAM as you can. Like these devices with the M chips are really, really good. So get as much RAM and GPU as you can. Here's a story I will tell you. I had a client who wanted to do ISO recording. We had 3 cameras in the video setup, and they only got 8 gigs of RAM on a computer. And our recommendation is minimum 16. If you can go 32 or 64, good, better, much better, right? Future-proofing yourself. You have the capability to expand all of that. So minimum that. Don't go for 8 gigs of anything. Never go for 8 gigs of anything. It's going to severely limit your capabilities. And so when I was setting this computer up, I was like, I thought the computer was the specs that we had recommended. And when I was setting this computer up and I was doing testing recordings, I was like, it was stalling. It was choppy. It was just like that. And I was like, what's happening? Why is this happening? Like I kind of went into freak out mode. And then I checked the specs and it was 8 gigs of RAM. And I was like, oh, okay, that's why. So you can't do ISO recording on that, right? It's just not enough computer power, even on the M chips. So there's your guidelines. Get as much as you can afford to future-proof yourself, but just make sure you stay away from the bare minimums is really the key there. Okay, see this. If the power goes out, it will be hard with backup plans. Not totally true. If you put a UPS, a universal power supply, I always think it's like 2 different names. If you get a universal power supply, you will at least have the ability to go a little while with your backup plan. So I'm gonna argue with you on that, Marcus. Okay, next question. Also comes from Patrick. Oh, wait. No, sorry. That was same question, just copied twice. Emmons, World of Geek. Why don't niche channels within a niche channel work? For example, comic books. Most channels talk DC or Marvel, but I like to focus on independent comics, a much smaller fan base than the big two. Okay. Great question. Eman, are you still here? Uninterrupted power supply. Thank you. I was like, I feel like I have that wrong. Uninterrupted power supply. I always say universal and I'm like, that's wrong. Feels wrong. UPS. Always put that into your studio and connect the right things. I need to do a video on about what to connect to that thing and what not to. That's a good video idea. Okay, next question. I'm gonna write that down. Hold on. Hold, please. Hold, please. UPS, what to plug in? Like, because there are, like, you don't just do it willy-nilly. You do not just do that willy-nilly. I promise you that. Okay, I'll do a video on that. Okay, next thing is, okay, this niche thing. So you don't want to do DC or Marvel where everybody, all those comic channels definitely, you know, tackle those big companies. You want to focus on independent comics, which is a smaller fan base. Here's what you do. Okay, so when you have such a small niche within a niche, you've got to take a bit of a different creative approach. So one option is to only focus on that niche of a niche, right? Like it's a small niche and maybe you want to just go there and you want to keep it small. And maybe you're happy with a smaller, more engaged audience because they are so dedicated to that passion. That's okay. You will understand that you will never gain the subscribers that those other channels gain. That's option one. Option two is to take a bit of a different creative approach. And that looks like comparing these little niche, these niche comic books or companies to the big boys. So you get the attention of the people who are looking at DC and Marvel content by saying, here's what, you know, comparing them, like this versus that. And you would kind of take a DC or a Marvel big name and compare it to the smaller name. That way you're taking advantage of the people who want the attention or who are getting the attention, and you're saying, hey, there's this other option. So you can get creative, and it's not just versus, but it's using the big boys to draw attention to the smaller niche. That's how you take that option one and grow and expand your audience beyond your super small niche. Does that make sense? I hope that helps, Aman. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. I mean, I'm sure we could find option 3, 4, or 5, but those are your big two primary ways to go when it comes to niches of niches or very small ones. Okay, Luke Pryor asks, what do you think of the vertical streaming in the shorts feed lately? I saw your video on it about 4 to 5 months ago, and I've seen some people have good streams with it. I was just thinking this weekend, I didn't actually like do vertical live. Like, it would have been a really great idea to go vertically live from the B&H event. I did not do that. But I've missed the boat on several of potential good vertical streams. Behind the scenes types of things, like those can work so really well for vertical. But anyway, my point being, what do I think of it lately? Like, I think that people are testing, people are expanding. The platform is getting better at understanding who's watching what and, you know, giving you more options. The more people use it, the more the algorithm and the more the platform is going to understand how to serve that. But yeah, I think that if you get the right content, you can do really good streams with it. Like I said in those videos that I did about vertical live, you are going to have to understand that you are attracting a a broader audience because it is being shown in the shorts feed. And you have to understand that you need to like kind of repeat and tell people what's going on, because more people are going to be coming in at random times. So I think that it's well worth trying. And I literally was just thinking about this yesterday or over the weekend, that I need to do more of it so I can help you guys understand what makes a good one and what doesn't. You did a short vertical live from the last studio build. Yes, I did. You're right. I did something good. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Marcus, I want to jump the queue, but I have no questions. Well, thank you for the super chat anyway. Appreciate you, Marcus. While we're on the topic, is it good to go live on both vertical and horizontal? As long as you understand that there are two ways to go about doing both live vertically and horizontally at the same time. One option is the lazy way, quote unquote. It's the easy way, where your system is sending out like these two different ones. It's taking the wide and just capturing the middle. So you must understand, if you're doing that form of both things, wide and vertical, in the easy way, then if you move off to center, it's not going to follow you. So you have to make sure that you and any graphics or visualizations that you're using are in the center frame. You can do a more complicated setup, which I had promised to do a video about, which I never did, and I apologize about. A more complicated setup to control that more and send out very specific feeds to each. And that gives you a lot more control. It's just a lot more work as well. I mean, it's not, well, yeah, it's more work as well. It's more focus and attention on, different things. The lazy way only works for YouTube, desktop, plus Instagram. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Amber, if I don't want the master mount clamped to a desk or countertop, is there a shelf or something else you'd recommend attaching it to? Yeah, I have a video I really want to do like ASAP on this, which is a varipole and mounting arms. Amber, how quickly are you looking to get this done? Because this video has been in my brain of like, I need to get this out ASAP, and I'm hoping to shoot that soon. So there's a very specific setup. Now, it is more expensive than a desk mounted setup. Just keep that in mind. If you want to go not the more like, so this setup with a varipole and a Manfrotto clamp and arm, that setup is going to take up the least amount of space, and it's going to give you the most amount of flexibility. It's awesome. I use it in my own studios. You can check out my behind the scenes video on my studio if you want to see that in action. Because I'm 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 varipoles that I use in my setups. You're not going to need that. I have a lot more complication, but not quickly. Cool. So Amber, wait for my video. I mean, you can check out the behind the scenes video and see that in action, but I'm going to actually show you how to set that up and all the pieces that you need. That's the more flexible, less space take up, but more expensive option. The less expensive option, less expensive, but takes up more space option would be just like a tripod on the floor, away from your desk. So you could get a cheap tripod, put the camera on that, and be done with it. It's just going to get in your way, likely, depending on the space that you have. Okay, next question. Quill, what's one engagement hack you can use during a live stream to get your audience engaged? Great question. I love this. The easiest one. Excuse me. The easiest one is what I call an easy win question. So when you are asking, I want you to ask a question to your audience, and it's got to be an easy win question, meaning it's a yes or no. It's a closed question. Yes or no. Do you like dogs, cats, or reptiles? right? Like these are like closed questions. There's only one way to answer. They're easy wins. And why I call that an easy win is because the audience is less likely to engage if you're asking a philosophical question, an open-ended question that requires thought. They might be multitasking while watching you. They might not trust you yet as a relationship, as a connection. They may not feel comfortable putting themselves out there in the chat room yet. So when you ask these closed-ended, easy win questions, then it gives an easy way for them to say something, to just speak in the chat room. And so that is the best hack that I can offer you to get fastest engagement. It's not deep engagement, but it's the starting point for deep engagement. Hopefully that helps. Let me know how that goes. Or actually, let me ask you guys this question. This is an open-ended question, but what is the next closed-ended, easy win question that you're going to ask your own audience? Put that in the chat room right now. Let's, as a community, get everybody talking about this one topic right now so that you all share a closed-ended question that you could ask your audience. And it could be about the topic of your content, or it could literally be about anything, dogs, cats, whatever. Food. What's your favorite food? Like, or do you like, eggs or bacon? Right? Like, what is one that you can put in your next video? Go ahead and put that in the chat room right now, and let's start everybody kind of sharing and getting wheels turning, okay? Simon says, you just inspired me to go live again. Whoop, whoop. I love that. Fantastic. Okay. The answer is a definite maybe. Good. I'm glad you like that. Go ahead and put what you're going to put in there. I have one variable, although I want two more, but my setup has been great for no tripods, and I have 3 Elgato Wave arms to hold up my cameras. Fantastic. I love that. All right, go ahead and share in the comments and get everybody's minds going on those closed-ended questions. Exactly. Erica asks, can I use the animated overlays on vMix Basic, or do I need the paid version? Can I use the animated overlays on vMix, or do I need paid version? Oh, Basic. I believe, so your tech coach is our vMix expert, and I believe she answered you already. I was just scrolling up to see if I could find her answer. It was a real question. I just saw this. It was a real question. Sorry. It sounded like a funny question, like a joke. Okay. I'm going to if you did not see Kathleen's answer to you, I'm going to let her answer that in the chat room, Erica. And by the way, if you guys hold on, we're just going to do something real quick. Who wants training on vMix? Because, oops. Because, there we go. I just posted the link. You guys, we had taken down our vMix training. We actually took down all of our software training. I'm redoing some things on Ecamm for you to be able to get your support set up on the Ecamm side of things. But if you want vMix training to help have Kathleen walk you through all of that, I've partnered up with her, and she provides that training, in-depth vMix software training. So you guys can check that link that we're going to post. And if you use vMix, that will help you. Okay, next question comes from Paul. Okay, Paul, you just got bumped. Sorry, Paul, I'll come right back to you. Mari's Music jumped to the top of the queue because super chatted. Thank you for the super chat, Mari. Hi, LP. That's me, Luria Patorci. Ecamm overlays are driving me nuts. Can you refresh me on non-sticky snappy? Oh my gosh, I have a video. Oh, literally I have a video that answers this question that is being released on Thursday, I believe. I hope. I think it's being released on Thursday, if not next week. But, okay. So tell me this, Mari, real quick, Mari, what is driving you nuts about it? Is it the fact that when you're trying to position your overlays, the snappy or the sticky is like getting in your way? Is that what's happening? Sorry, Paul. Mari. It's okay, Paul. I do have to finish answering this. I never asked your question, so I didn't continue on it. Bidding war. Here we go. We are in a bidding war now. Okay, I'm going to finish Mari, and then I'm coming straight to you, Paul. Okay, position and sizing isn't consistent. Oh my God. You're going to love this video I just approved it today before the show. It is ready to rock and roll. And I believe it's coming out on Thursday. So I want you to watch that video because it'll help you tremendously. If you're having trouble with overlays, what I want you to do is hit command while you're adjusting. Isn't it just command, I think? While you're adjusting, that way you can adjust it exactly where you want. I'm also in that video giving you tips on exactly how to get correct, consistent spacing. Y'all all. Oh, by the way. I'll watch Thursday, Paul, you're up. Okay, by the way, there's going to be a special discount for you guys on Thursday in this video. So I want you to put Thursday on your calendar, 10 a.m. Pacific, and show up, watch that video, and there's a special something, a little gift for you guys in that video. So Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific. I'm going to just assume we're releasing that video on Thursday. We have a couple of videos in the works. Paul, is that okay? Paul Dixon? Are we good? All right. Okay. I love this competition that's happening in the chat room right now. Okay, Paul's question was, have you seen any new followers using the community tab? I feel like you've been using it more. So, Paul, I think so. Yeah, I think it's helping me reach the followers in general, new or OG. But I've been trying to use it more just because I used to be great at social and just the posting and all of that. I got really bad at it over the last several years. And I'm just doubling down on my efforts trying to do social better. So that's really the reason I'm using it more, because it is a good way. I do see some traction. I don't always get traction in the community tab, but I do see traction happening in the YouTube community tab. So if you have access to that, definitely use it. And people will start to see that. So, okay. Does that answer your question enough, Paul? Did I give you enough? You super chatted. Did I give you enough attention there? Just making sure. All right. Gil, do you have a Varipole? So I have a Varipole set up with my camera and light mounted. Let me know if you need help with that. I'm guessing you were maybe talking to the other person in the chat room. Thank you for offering help. King, will you get the same watch hours in vertical stream or get short watch hours? So they're the same watch hours because it's a live stream. So the vertical live is not specifically a short form content. That's not being seen as short form content, even though I understand how that's maybe confusing because it's showing up in the shorts feed. But you will get regular live watch hours for that. So hopefully that answers that question. Okay, video strategy. What do you think about faceless videos? Okay, so I know that there are, trying to be nice. Okay, what do I think about faceless videos? I think that they're a potential strategy if you do not want to build connection or community. When you focus on faceless videos, and honestly, there are lots of faceless channels out there that are doing super well. What that won't offer you is authenticity. It won't offer you connection with a community, getting to know people, getting to help people in a really valuable way through your own knowledge and skill and thoughts. It won't really help you build longevity because and maybe somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe the YouTube liaison is in here and he's seen some opposite things. I don't know. I have not personally seen faceless channels have that loyalty to the host. And that means that you are going to have to just keep creating content and keep putting it out there constantly. And you're going to, if you ever pivot, if you ever change, or if you ever want to, make any changes, they're not going to follow you. They're there for the content, not the person behind the content, right? And so I'm a big, big advocate of authenticity and human connection. That's just the way I've built my 18-year career. It's the way I will continue building it, and I will never go faceless. But it's an option. It's an option. It's just totally different of an approach. And if that's the approach that you want to do, then I'm here cheerleading you on. Go freaking do it and go kill it. I'm not going to be able to offer advice around faceless channels, mostly speaking, because it's not going to, I'm always going to lean into the authenticity, the community aspect of it. So I won't be the right person to offer you advice on faceless channels if that's the direction that you want to go. If you want to take the opposite approach of what I've just described and have that longevity, that connection with a loyal audience, then I'm your girl. I am your girl. All right. Worked okay for a daily dose of internet, but he has a unique voice and a particular type of content. There you go. Okay, fantastic. I love to hear opinions or different perspectives. I don't know that particular one, but I would agree with if it does it, and there are several that work. They do. It's just from my perspective, you have to keep creating the same exact content for all time almost, because they're not there to pivot with you as you do and naturally in life. But a unique voice and a particular type of content is going to be kind of the way that you go. Yeah. Okay, nice. I tend to pass on faceless vids and definitely on AI voiced vids. Yeah, for sure. I see community. Yeah, Mari and Paul are going at it. That's the sign of community. I watched videos by a talking lemon with an AI voice, but that was more tutorial type videos. You have to send me the link, Paul. I'm dying to know now. What do I think about face-off videos? Videos that break down classic film face-off. I don't know what that film is. You know me, I don't know pop culture reference, movies, or anything of the sort. But face-off videos, if two people are competing, all for it. Question for the chat. This is from our magical Mr. Paul Dixon, who is responsible for everything branding that you see here, all of the visual elements, and also all of our store items that you can buy pre-done, pre-made for you, livestreamingpros.com/store. Anyway, he has a question for you. On YouTube, do you see a community tab or a post tab? It has changed for some. Yes, they seem to be testing something for sure. All right. You will know it. Trust me. Wait, what will I know? There are a few faceless channels that I like. It just has to be really good to work. That's a good point. Oh, okay. You're saying I know that channel. I guess, yeah. I don't know. I don't know it by name, I guess. Then that's the other thing, right? I don't know it by name, but I've probably seen its videos. What's defined as faceless channel. It really it's all B-roll, all there's no person. There's voiceover, but there's no person on screen. Nobody, you're not ugly. You're not ugly. There's no such thing. Bring it on. Face-off videos. Y'all are funny. Okay. Next question comes from Patrick, who's making a point for me right now. Can y'all hear my squeaking of my chair? I'm being a little lazy today, I will tell you. The question from Patrick is, should you be sitting or standing during your live streams to have the best energy? How can you use your body to help you be more energetic? Any tips? I love standing. I am currently sitting, but because I'm being lazy today. But almost always, 99.5% of the time I'm doing videos, I am standing. And that is because it does provide more energy. It gives you better posture, it provides more energy, it helps your information flow better. And when you sit, like I have perfected the art of sitting and still have the same energy standing, but that's because I've practiced it and I've gone through that for years, right? And so, but I don't prefer to sit just because it can make you kind of like slouch, and I have a squeaky chair that WD-40 doesn't even fix. I can't wait to get rid of this bar stool that I sit on when I sit here. It's like, it's terrible. I need to get rid of this ASAP, but it's here and I'm sitting, but I'm like so conscious of the fact that it squeaks that I'm like pretty like my posture is good. Like I know that if I slouch, I'm going to start making noise. So it's almost, so if you're going to sit, get a noisy bar stool that's going to force you into good posture. The stool was so much work to even get. I know, went through hell to get this bar stool and it's stupid and I hate it. Meh. Audio texture. There we go. I'll go for audio texture. I've perfected the art of sitting. Yeah, like singing, right? So like standing is definitely going to give you the best energy level for that, for sure. I need to record a Rodecaster sound panel for it. I'm not going to miss it. I don't know why you think I'm going to miss it. I'm definitely not going to miss this thing. Okay, next question. And the second part of that was, how do you use your body? Okay. So I actually talk a lot about this in my teleprompter booster pack. And part of that booster pack is to help you read from a prompter more human and naturally feeling. But what I say about that is, like, in that I actually go deep into how to present so that you are natural. And part of that is your body language. And whether you're reading a prompter or not, it matters that you're moving your hands in a natural way. It matters that you look away from the camera from time to time, like you would if you're speaking to somebody. Because if I stare you directly in the lens, aka your face, and I never, maybe I blink every once in a while, but I never stare off or I like look off, it's going to feel really unnatural and uncomfortable for you as a viewer after a bit of time, because that's not normal. When you're speaking face to face, you naturally glance off. And you kind of like redirect your gaze. You move your head, your neck, you move your hands, your body is loose but good posture. Those are things that you can do to focus on having better body language and using your body for that more energetic feel. Let's do a staring contest. All right, staring contest, go. I don't know how we know who's gonna win since you can't actually, I can't see you. You're just going to have, oh, damn. I lost. Okay, next question. JFK, what's defined? Oh, I answered that already. I also had a question from Tatiana, who... I just got this question before. I don't think Tatiana is here. But, oh my gosh, it's 11:04. Time flew today. Wow. Okay, I'm going to answer this real quick. Tatiana says, Ecamm keeps freezing my video. I don't know if it's Ecamm or Camlink. And Callie and Kathleen, we can send her this like answer here. But this has happened in the midst of a webinar. Any suggestions? So Ecamm keeps freezing my video. I don't know if it's Ecamm or Camlink, but this has happened in the middle of a webinar. So when you have frozen video, it can be a number of things. The first thing I will say is I have a video on troubleshooting and understanding how to understand what is happening on my channel. So go watch that video because it walks you in depth in terms of deciphering what's going on when tech does go wrong, when the tech does go wrong. But what I will say is it may be Ecamm. It's not Ecamm. Let's just call that what it is. It's not Ecamm. It would be your computer's power or capabilities, or it could be the capture card. It could be where the capture card is plugged into if you have it in, if it's going straight into the computer versus a dock. If it's going straight into the computer, do you have multiple capture cards? I also have a video on USB buses. So if you have multiple capture cards, you can't use them. You have to understand how your system operates. And so I have a video about using multiple capture cards and understanding the USB bus system inside of your computer so that you plug it in correctly. So those are a couple of videos to watch, but it's three options. One, the capture card itself, maybe it's failing. So that could be the cable or it could be the card itself. It could be where it's plugged into your computer and or dock. And also it could be just your computer's system. If you have 8 gigs of RAM, you're gonna wind up with some stalling out video. If you have a really good system, then maybe it is too much happening on your computer. Maybe you have background syncing going on, which you should pause while you're recording or going live or doing a webinar. Maybe you need to clean out your system. Right now, I had to turn off recording on my system because I have like 2 gigs left of storage and somebody needs to do some cleanup herself. So that is a regular thing that you're going to have to do is clean up your system. Make sure that you're removing files. You don't have apps open that you are not needing for that stream. Typically, those things like cloud backups going on in the background or apps or storage, those are really going to lean more towards the buffering technological problem. It'll like buffer and like catch. If you're having absolute freeze, then I would look at the capture card first and just make sure you change out the capture card, change out the cable first, then change out the capture card itself, change out where it is as well. Okay. Yes. Also, this is a great option as well. Open your system usage, and the activity monitor is the app that you want to open on the Mac. And then you can see what's causing the CPU usage to go crazy. When that happens, that might guide you into the right direction as well. Thank you so much. Where are you going, Mari? You're not allowed you're not allowed to go. Why is everyone making a start a YouTube channel? It's worth it right now. I didn't know they were. Although I have been recommended several videos about like, that's not like, they're not YouTube advice people, and yet they're saying like, oh my God, like start now. I just saw one today that I didn't click on, but I think I know what you're talking about. Jasmine, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. What kind of content do you create? Let us know. Okay, so hopefully you guys, got all your questions answered. Jasmine, you joined at the end of this. I'm going 10 minutes over time that I normally, and I have a call, and so I apologize for that. But I appreciate you, and I love these conversations. Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific, and then Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, you can expect a new video upload. So make sure you're subscribing, make sure you have those notifications turned on, and put that in your schedule so that you're like, okay, no, I can't book a meeting. I've got a video to watch. I've got a live stream to join, because it's worth it. It's worth it. All right, you guys, I want you to stay in imperfect action this week. If it's not perfect, it doesn't freaking matter. It's not going to be. And I want you to make sure that you just take an action. Don't let anything hold you back in your brain, in the technical issues that you're facing. Get the job done. Go, do, release, create, and don't let anything hold you back. Stay in imperfect action. I love you guys so much. Be bold out there, and we will see you next time. And let the credits roll. Put those dancing shoes on. And let's thank our members here on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Bye.
Turn it up.